I hope this message finds you well. I am hearing a lot of chatter today about limitation and how we limit God. And what I'm hearing is the ways in which we limit God, specifically how so many of us would like to limit God by forcing our human characteristics, our human attributes onto God. So to say, because a human being experiences emotions of jealousy and anger and these kinds of things, that God would also, and that of course is an erroneous thought. So then I'm hearing more about what God is and the characteristics that we would understand that closest resemble God. And then the many voices that want to say there is an idea, and I have spoken it, that everything is God, because everything is happening within God. Nothing is outside of God, because nothing would exist outside of God. It's not possible. Having said that, it seems to me that there is a request out there from someone, even if it's just a thought, for clarity around this, because as we look upon things that war and violence and whatever we deem as unacceptable, and the message coming from the higher realms, like the Father, the message today is, and I'll just speak it the best way I can, and that is, the Father says that the Father is all things that are possible. The Mother is the force, the power that brings them into form. The Father says, I make all things available to you. When you see war, death, violence, destruction, and think these things cannot be of God, He asks that we look at it another way. The way is this: you might be inclined to think that someone somewhere needs to have this experience for their growth. He's saying that's not exactly correct. Someone somewhere believes on some level that they must have this experience for whatever reason they believe they need it. So when you see these things, violence, destruction, see the truth of it, that because I love you, He says, because I love you so much, I give you everything. You make choices what you wish to experience through the limitation that you ascribe to me, the limitations that you ascribe to your world and what it can be. And He's also communicating that it's not personal, and it's all this feeling is of so much love and peace. And He says, It is you who believe there must be these things. It is you who have limited yourself, have limited me, have limited your vision of reality to believe that these things must exist because they don't need to exist. You can have a human experience. You can have all of the beauty that the human experience can be without the negative side effects. But he says, as long as you think you need these things, as long as you think, you believe that you need to grow in some way, until you accept your perfection, until you accept how loved you are, until you accept that I am without limitation, and you also have that potential to be without limitation, even in the human experience, you will continue to have a limited experience. So I'm not sure why this is important today. That's the message I'm getting is, I'm hearing, how can God allow X, Y, and Z to occur? This is the idea I'm hearing. And he says, I don't allow nor encourage these things to occur, but out of my love for you, I give you the power to create as you will, as you choose. That doesn't mean that our creations are the will of God. And so maybe that's where we need to go with this. Our will, our free will, we can choose to align to the highest level, which is to align with the will of God. The truth of us, our will and God's will are the same. But as the human being, as being the human, we can choose not to align our will with the will of the Father. In other words, we can choose to not walk the highest path for the greatest good. And from that deviation, when we deviate from that highest path, these things that we abhor are manifest in our world. So are created, and it is a miscreation. And a miscreation is when we create out of alignment with the will of God, which would also be our true will. Another way of saying that is that's when the personality self, the small self, the ego, is driving the car. That's when we are seeing through not the eyes of Christ, but the eyes of our personality, our small self, who believes they are this body in this world, on this planet, living this life. So the root of all evil, I'm hearing the root of all evil is believing that you are the human, believing that you are the personality living the life, accepting that you are in truth the Christ, you are in truth the Holy Son, the Holy Daughter of God, allows you to think again, choose again, when you would be inclined to miscreate by deviating from that truth. You have the opportunity to choose again, to realign your choices with your true will, which is the will of God. In peace and in love, may you be blessed.